Congratulations on the show getting a second season pickup. When did you know that this show was going to be a hit?
I think we all agreed that it was during our first table read, and as much as you may admire the other actors in an ensemble, until you actually sit around and read it together, you don't quite know what the chemistry will be. And that day, we all sort of looked at each other and went, "Whoa, something very cool is happening here."
How long did it take for the chemistry? Because it just seems automatic with you guys.
Oh no, it was definitely there. I mean, I credit the writers and the producers for putting this group together, because I think they had an idea in their minds of how this quartet would work. And it's like playing tennis with great people. I mean, everybody hits the ball back. We all sort of occupy a particular place in this crazy universe. And we all have a slightly different style, but it kind of works together. And that's something you really don't know until you get out there and do it. And, you see sometimes films with like the most amazing stars, and you think, how could that not go? How could that not be brilliant? But you don't know until you do it. And thank goodness they had excellent taste all the way around. We're all very happy about it.
That's a good thing. Now, you worked with Jane Leeds on Frasier, or did you not get a
Yes, no, the last season on Frasier, Jane and I worked, and she brought to my attention that I was her mother-in-law. Which is interesting, but I married Frasier's father, and she married Frasier's brother. So, in fact, oh, there's Betty carrying on over there again.
Oh.
We're very used to it. Yeah, so we worked, I was on the last season of that show. Valerie I'd never worked with before, and Betty I knew from different, that'll be better. We'll just close Betty off to us.
Yeah.
Betty, I'd been to various animal things. We're both activists on behalf of animals.
Do you think maybe we can get an animal on the show for the two of you to work with?
You know what? We both feel that if you don't absolutely have to have an animal, let's not bother bringing them into studios. They should be where they belong, out running and playing and having a good time.
Now, you play a soap star on the show, and I saw you did some soap work. Do you feel like you're representing soaps?
Oh, go ahead, yeah. Early days, my first job on television was on an old sitcom, an old soap opera called Love of Life. And I was Nurse Jones, and I wore that little nurse's outfit every day and had to recap what had happened the day before. Not so fabulous. But this character, Honor St. Raven, is kind of an alter ego that I just always loved that name. I wanted to use it someday, so I offered it to them.
Oh. Now, in the pilot episode, there was a whole big thing with you and Susan Lucci and about how you have that rivalry. Now, she's going to be on the show.
Yeah. No, Susan is a great sport and came and played with us and will be on a future episode. And I have been trying to catch up to her for years, because now I am the longest running Daytime Emmy nominee without having won one. Now Susan's finally started winning them, but I have yet to win one as Honor St. Raven. So I still have a real bone to pick with her. Of course, it all comes to a very bad end.
Now it sounds good.
Yeah.
But you did have a good end with Huey Lewis. What was it like working with him?
Huey and I worked together years ago on Just Shoot Me and had a blast. And I was so happy when they told me he was going to be my old rock and roll boyfriend who dumped me, left me stranded on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, the old Eagles lyric. And I thought, well, this is going to definitely be fun. And those are some of my favorite episodes, the ones that have huge physical comedy, and it's almost like choreographing a dance. It's very much like that. He was just wonderful. And we left the door open so that he could come back again.
Do you think you were going to get other boyfriends for you in the upcoming season?
Oh, I'm sure that I will have other boyfriends, yes. I definitely like men.
Yes. No, well, yes.
My character. Yeah, I like them too. We want men to come and visit us, but just not stay for too long.
Oh, okay. Is there anyone in particular that you want to date on the show?
There's a whole list of people, but I'm going to keep it in my vest pocket because I think we might get some of them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyone from like Just Shoot Me or Jake in Progress?
I don't know, but I certainly will revisit that idea. A lot of my friends from Just Shoot Me are actually working now. Rico's doing a series in Canada, and David Spade is still on Rules of Engagement. And George is going to be on TV Land, right? I think we're going to be on probably back to back, and it's come first of the year.
Talking about TV Land, it's amazing. Here you are, you're the first scripted program on a network that has brought us some of the best shows. What is it like?
You know, it was such a complete crapshoot for everybody because we were so completely without any history. They'd never tried to do this before, and we were all in New York promoting it right before the premiere episode, and it was kind of like being in Houston waiting for the launch and wondering if it was going to actually happen or if it was just going to like punk out. So by the time we landed, coming back from New York, or the next day was when they got the returns and found out that it was just far exceeded their expectations, and everybody was thrilled, and we were blown away. It was amazing.
I think part of the reason why this show is like an instant classic in a way.
Yeah,
Not saying that in a
yeah.
bad way, but
No,
it's
no,
just
a lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said this is sort of going back to the old classic format of sitcoms, when there was really tight, good writing. The rhythm is something you kind of know what to expect from, and you have really colorful characters who all can deliver.
now a big thing is like you're doing different like Cleveland scenes, like you did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
Do you think we'll get like other Cleveland people there, like Drew Carey on the show
Oh,
now?
absolutely. Yeah, we're thinking about the people who are Ohioans for sure, and we did want LeBron James, but I think he just took himself out of the mix.
Yeah, I don't think he's allowed back in Cleveland.
I think we're kind of down on LeBron right now. No, we just feel bad. We feel bad for the Cleveland people for that. But we may end up at a Cavalier game, yeah.
Ooh, that would be kind of
Yeah,
fun.
no, we'd all love to go to Cleveland and shoot some exteriors, and I think it would be great fun.
And what do you think is like the success for this show mostly?
Besides Betty White, I think that this is a show that tells stories about women of a certain age, and there are very few out there. For so long, we have been relegated to, and all of us, thankfully, have been working and been so lucky to do that, but it's usually as the ex-wife or the judge or the principal. I played 2 principals last year. And now we get to tell stories that actually are about us and what women go through in their late 40s and late 50s and late 80s. And I think that's kind of new territory for a lot.